perfect cherry blossom, it wouldn't take long for fans to get the next title in the series, actually less than a year. This one named Imperishable Night. Now, this is kind of a bit of a departure for the series. It's certainly more experimental than any of the other Windows games, with the ability of selecting two characters at the same time and an interesting time mechanic. So, with this experiment, how did they do? Let's take a look. Are you even curious about the plot? Seriously? You should, because it's stupid. Really stupid, even for a Touhou game. Ready? Okay. So the moon of Gensokyo has been stolen by moon rabbits. However, they were nice enough to put up a fake moon that could never become full to replace it. If you know anything about famous mythical creatures from a variety of different cultures, then you know not having a full moon is kind of a big deal. So naturally, many yokai have a stake in the happenings. Thus, it's not just Reimu and Marissa investigating this time, but 4 teams, each with a human and a yokai, go looking for the moon. Reimu is joined by Yukari, the extra boss from the previous game. Marissa teams up with Alice, Sakia brings her master Emilia along for the ride, and even the ghost, Yomu and Yuyuko, journey to make things right. Again, canon only states one team set out, but again, it's stupid, so I'm ignoring that fact in my story overview. The dual character system is easily the mechanical highlight of the game, and it's pretty cool. You always start out controlling the human character, who has their own shot properties and spell card attack, but if you hold shift, you can change into the yokai, who has an independent shot and bomb. What's more, certain targets are only attackable by the human character, meaning that you need to be mindful of who is best for a given situation. The other unique gimmick is the time system. You only have from midnight until 5 AM to finish the game. Typically, an hour elapses after each stage, as well as every time you continue. Running out of time, and you get the bad ending. However, there is a time counter that isn't affecting each stage. Increasing it above a certain threshold makes it so only a half hour elapses after the stage, making later levels accessible. How do you increase it then? There are 3 ways. First is by picking up the specific item that drops from enemies. Second is to kill a foe while they have bullets on screen. And finally, you can earn time by a slider that is increased or decreased depending on whether you're the human or the yokai. If it's 100% one way or the other, you earn time by grazing shots. This is a really cool mechanic exclusive to this game. The journey to find the moon begins in a forest path, where your chosen team is first assaulted by a malicious firefly yokai named Wriggle Nightbug. Zune sucks at naming characters, doesn't he? Whom is easily defeated before encountering Mystia Lorelei, whom is also handily beaten, and eaten by a ghost no less, if you're playing Yomu's team. Next you take on Kain Kamishirisawa, a half-beast feebly protecting a human village. After handing her ass, you end up on the wrong side of either Reimu or Marissa, whom think that your team is behind the moon incident. Why Marissa would accuse Reimu of it or vice versa is beyond me, but whatever. After solving the misunderstanding by gratuitous amounts of force, your team moves on to a mansion guarded by 2 moon rabbits, Tui and Raisin Inaba. After some violent persuasion, the bunnies retreat and the team loses their way in the mansion. Then you can select from 2 paths. Well, if you haven't had to continue yet. Otherwise, you'll get stuck on the bad path, so to speak. One leading to a fake moon and Eren, while the other leading to the real moon and the Moon Princess Serenity. Kaguya. She stole the moon in order to sever the link between the Earth and the moon, for some reason. So naturally, the girls beat the snot out of her. After passing her quote-unquote 5 impossible requests and restoring the moon, the princess asks you to off her rival for no real reason. And hell of it is, your team complies. I could see the bloodthirsty characters like Reimu or Emilia going for this, but it's kind of a stretch. So you wage through like 1,000,000 bullets, slay Moku, and get the good ending. Apparently the story is somewhat based on a traditional Japanese folktale, but that doesn't make it any less goofy. Moon Rabbit girls? Seriously? Wacky story aside, this was the first game in the franchise I actually played, and honestly, it's still my favorite. I love the varied playstyles the team system offered, and I think that the time system is a really fair and interesting way of making the game enjoyable for beginners while really giving you a sense that you're improving as time goes on. Once you start clearing most of the stages above the time point limit, you know you're doing something right. It's probably the most unique and enjoyable game in the entire series, and I highly recommend it, especially as a good place to start with Touhou. While Imperishable Night had its quirks, it certainly fit the general Touhou mold. The next two games would be completely different, starting with Immaterial Missing Power, which is the first Touhou fighting game, and it's followed up by Phantasmagoria Flower View, a competitive shooter in the same vein as Phantasmagoria Dim Dreams on the PC-98. How did these guys fare? Well, join me next time and I'll tell you all about it.